Yo, seventh grade. What's up? Happy Tuesday. Sorry for saying yo. I know that's weird when old people say slang. Let's get right to it, all right? Do some pod. We have a couple announcements, reminders. And first off, weekly reminder what it means to be a future ready student. We have our BEAVER acronym to remind us. The A stands for accepting challenges and committing to growth, all right? That picture, I think it was before your time here, is from an old pod that we did about the learning pit. Anybody that spent time in Pocatello knows how they talk about the learning pit in there. Basically, what we're talking about is to really get where you want to be as a student, you have to accept challenging things and not just sit on the sidelines and say, this is too hard, all right? I think of my own daughter who wants to learn how to dive into a pool, but she stands over there nervously and she's not so sure, what to do, okay? So accept hard things because that's how you grow. Speaking of growth, future ready students have a growth mindset, meaning that if they have a new math class that's challenging or new science or any kind of difficult task, you have to cover somebody new on the soccer field that's a little bigger or faster than you. You accept that challenge and says, it's not about I can't do it forever, I'm bad at math or I'm not fast enough. I just can't do that yet. You have to find new ways to grow and get better. So that's what our A part stands for. Accept challenges, they're good for you, and commit to your growth. All right? Yesterday, I'm filming this Monday for tomorrow morning. Time is weird and meaningless in 2020. We started our B electives and our Flex 2 classes, correct? So 7th graders, you probably found the classes all right. Just wanted to remind you that both those classes now, both the electives and the Flex classes, only last for 6 weeks. And Flex isn't on Wednesday, obviously. So if you are thinking, I don't love this class, remember, you have 6 different classes, and it takes a lot of effort to get those schedules there. So unless you're really, really against it, I've been telling Miss Nybar, tell kids no, because often it may be just about your friends, all right? And Flex is about getting the help that you need and trying out some new fun stuff. So if it's only 6 weeks and you don't have a better reason than I just want to be with my friends, we'll probably keep you in there, and it'll go super fast, and we'll have a new one in November, all right? And then last week, I think on Wednesday or Thursday, I got a phone call that made me a little angry, and I'm not a very angry person, but this one made me angry. And it was because our head grounds crew person for the school district called and said that our school grounds had been very, very dirty for the last few days. Garbage everywhere, okay? So take care of your stuff. One of my least favorite things in society. Actually, my wife and I saw somebody just rolling down their window and just throwing stuff out the other day. And it's a good thing I'm not a road rage person, all right? We're not here to clean you up. And remember, this is everybody's school. You all have a stake in it. Okay? It's not mine. It's not your teachers. You have 3 years here that you need to contribute and make this time good for you. And I like a clean building and clean outside. And then, that we'll have to consider, closing campus or doing whatever we need to do. Now, we are allowing you to eat outside and let food go outside because of our COVID spacing restrictions. But eat in the spot that we tell you to, in the grass there, and throw your garbage away. Just make sure you're taking care of that so it doesn't become an issue. And I know that some of our student council people care about this too. So let's take care of our campus because we all share it, all right? So back to pod lessons. So our first unit, and remember, you guys are getting stuff a little bit different. If you've noticed that there's some different pictures that I didn't make and different resources, you are our guinea pigs that we're trying out for a new program called Second Step. So we'll see if you like it. But their first unit is about mindsets and goals. That's what we've been talking about so far. And our fourth lesson, well, let's talk about our third. Our third was about learning from mistakes. So there's that famous quote that I want to put on my wall in my office from Nelson Mandela about not ever losing in his life because he's either going to win or he's going to learn from that conflict or that challenge that's going to face. We also talked about those people who made this bridge in Tacoma, Washington, who the first one, they went kind of cheap and light material, and so eventually started waving like this and fell over, and they did get a second chance. It took them 10 years, but they've since built a bridge that has stood the test of time, okay? So when mistakes happen, failures happen on a test, in band, you mess up a solo epically. You know what it means to fail epically? It's like a big deal. You guys probably know that. Learn from it. It'll be okay. Maybe we have to have ability to respond to those mistakes. Next. So today's lesson is about identifying roadblocks. And it asks you, not quite yet, this lesson will learn how to identify roadblocks we might face as we pursue our goals. And this is where it asks you to write something down you have scratch paper and agenda nearby, you could do this. We could just think about it. Something that you're trying to accomplish. Maybe it was in the past, or maybe you're trying to do it right now. Okay, and who knows what it is? Could be school related, could be not. Remember, you should have written down some goals for this trimester in your agenda. I hope that everybody's done that. I've seen a few that don't have that, which didn't make me super happy. So whether it was in the past or you're working on it right now, think of a goal. Okay, this is something I want to accomplish, or in the past I wanted to accomplish. I think for myself, maybe writing a novel, which I have not done yet. Okay, and maybe we'll use that as an example later on. So what was the goal, and then what are some two roadblocks, if you don't know what that is, things that can slow you down a little bit, all right? So keep those in mind, write them down, and I want you to meet this young lady, Vera. Part of these second step lessons is they do have some short videos. They're not great, they're okay, they're pretty good production values, but I haven't figured out with technology how to make them. I could play them up there, but it wouldn't look great. Still trying to figure out how to share my screen and all that stuff. And get videos to YouTube. But Vera is introduced as a girl at Second Step Academy for gifted youngsters, and she has the power to levitate stuff, and she wants to eventually join this crime fighting team that they have there. So for comic book nerds like me, they're essentially ripping off the X-Men, okay? So Vera, our character today, is at this school, and she wants to get to the elite group, and so that's her goal. Let's keep that in mind with Vera, all right? So Vera is going to be our example, and maybe we'll use mine as well about the trying to write a novel someday. And she has some roadblocks that she might face, all right? And we want to teach you about the difference between an internal and external roadblock. So internal is pretty easy to remember. Think about inside. So this is an obstacle or a hindrance that emanates or comes from you, all right? It's kind of your issue, your problem. External, which there's no easy way to remember that one, but it just means outside of you, okay? And this next slide pretty much defines what I just told you when we flip them over. So let's see if they do a better job than me. And they do. Things that are within your control, that you can control them. Think of habit 1 from last year, the be proactive, the circle of control. Okay, internal things are about stuff that you can alter in some way. You can make a difference with these roadblocks, all right? External is a roadblock that is something about your environment, something around you that you really can't control. Doesn't mean you have to just accept it, but really it's not within your circle of control. So internal, external, all right? Types of roadblocks. I don't know how well you can see that, probably not super great, but this is Vera's situation. She has some roadblocks from getting onto the sort of fake X-Men team that she wants to be a part of, all right? If I had you live, I can kind of manipulate this from where I got it from and play a little game with you, but we'll just have to do it through the video, all right? If your teacher's okay with it, you could shout out the answer. So is this an internal or external conflict? Not conflict, excuse me, roadblock. Next up, self-doubt. Not sure if she can really be on the X-Men. Is that internal or external? Pretty easy one because it's self. She lacks the confidence, all right? So that would go in the internal. No powers are allowed at home, so she's not allowed to use her levitation stuff. Kind of sounds like Harry Potter at home. So is that within her control? I don't know if it's somebody's rule, okay? So we'd put that in external. Other students say she's not good enough. People are hating on her. Darn those haters. And this is a tough one. So really, that is external. If other people doubt her and don't believe in her, that's their problem. But depending on how it may contribute to her self-doubt, right? Maybe a circle there. And that's the best literary conflicts and roadblocks have a little internal and external. So in its source, the other students say she's not good enough. Really external. But I wonder if that's impacting her self-confidence. Doesn't have to, but it may be. All right? And then she forgets her training uniform for this X-Men class. Definitely internal, just being a little bit of a forgetfulness. All right? Next one deals with somebody named Mark, which I haven't really introduced you to before. And Mark apparently has a goal of, I think, starting a band. Rock on. That's pretty cool. So he's not practicing regularly is what that top one says. I apologize that you can't see this better. Whose fault is that? From the way it doesn't have any other factors there, that's just on him. Okay, if you want to get better at this instrument, be part of a band, you got to practice. As Mr. Hanchy would tell you. No quiet place to practice at home. Now that part Probably external, right? His home environment he can't 100% control. From there, no friends want to join his band. Why not? But that probably would be external again, and then can't afford a good guitar. So unfortunately for Mark, he's got a lot of external things that maybe he can't control. To return to my problem with trying to write a novel, I'm trying to think of the roadblocks. Time, I'm a busy person, so that's maybe external. But really, there is some self-doubt. And sometimes I just wonder if I'm not observant enough. I can't get the little details. So probably two internal ones, and then the time factor, which I could make time. So often when there's roadblocks, it might be a mixture. I thought it'd be fun that to supplement, I like lessons from literature. Can't talk at this end of a Monday. Sorry about that. And this is some classic characters who may have a tragic flaw. If you don't know that term, it goes way back to the days of Greek mythology and even Shakespeare, okay, some of our classic storytellers. And these are characters that were heroic, but they had an internal roadblock that often they didn't know about. They couldn't see it, and so it led to their downfall or led to a lot of problems. And it kind of makes it tragic because the audience says, hey, if you were just better at this, then maybe you wouldn't have so many problems. So the first picture is Hamlet giving his famous soliloquy to a skull, poor Yorick. And that, if you didn't know, Simba in The Lion King is actually a retelling of Hamlet in Shakespeare. Don't know if you knew that. So his famous problem or his tragic flaw is doubt, self-doubt, really. Okay, and he really just doesn't know how to react. And he has, just like Simba, an uncle who killed his dad, like Scar and Mufasa, and he doesn't know if he should take revenge, if he should flee. So just kind of that hesitance, not knowing what to do is Hamlet's flaw. All right? Over here, that handsome gentleman with the club. On the other side is this guy named Odysseus, who was a very famous Greek mythology character, and very heroic, helps win the Trojan War and has some trouble getting home. And the reason he has trouble getting home and he can't get there right away is he has huge arrogance, or hubris as they call it in the days of ancient Greece, all right? To the point that he even says that he's better than the gods sometimes. So his hindrance or his roadblock is his own arrogance. And then I looked up one for a little bit more recent. I don't know that I recognized this when I read these books and watched these movies, but Katniss Everdeen gets herself in a little bit of trouble because she maybe loves too much and is too eager, even though this is part of her heroism. It is a good thing to just say, hey, I volunteered as tribute. She'll always put herself out there, maybe to a flaw that sometimes you do have to have some self-preservation. So watch out for those internal roadblocks that you may be thinking, I can't control that, I can't control that. Often more goes into your circle than you might think. That kid who couldn't practice his guitar, there's no quiet place at home. Communicate, advocate for yourself, talk to your parents, all right? Can I have this time to work on my guitar skills? That's my air guitar, pretty cool, all right? So watch out for internal ones. External ones, just to deal with the frustration, work your way through it. So whatever your goals are, think on those roadblocks, all right? What are they? What are preventing you from reaching your goal? And really, often those roadblocks can be detoured around, like that sign says. There's a way around them. And even though you can't just push a button and take away external roadblocks, you may have a chance to at least influence them. And I think the next couple of lessons talk about things that you can do with your roadblocks. So our quote to end it today is from, I don't actually know this person, but I like what they're saying here. So everything worth doing is going to be challenging. It just is. And so if you find a path, a metaphorical path, that's just smooth and it's the way that everyone's going, maybe it's not worth going on. Yeah, you see some people in class that are just being rude and disrespectful, and the easy thing would be to just follow that. It's not an easy path, okay, or it's not a path worth going on, excuse me. What would make it more worthwhile is saying, I'm going to do this. It may be more challenging, have more obstacles, but that's the right path, the one that will reach you to, or bring you to your goals. And then you've seen this picture, I've shared it with you before, you've probably seen it around. Yeah, it's never going to be this straight path to another wrestling championship or an undefeated football season or a great concert coming up or a great play. There's always going to be these detours. So recognize your roadblocks first off, and then next week we'll start talking about what you can do to go around or over or under those roadblocks and get to your goal. Sound good? Thanks for listening. Have a great Tuesday. See you guys soon.